So how good is the X3 in low light? Well, to answer this question, I took the X3 to the winter lights in Canary Wharf in London, so let's see how the X3 performed. I hope you enjoyed that sequence. Let me know what you think of the X3 footage in the comments below. I know you probably have lots of questions around what equipment did I use, what camera settings did I use, and how did I put it together in editing. So I'm going to cover all that next. So for equipment, I was using two selfie sticks, the first one being the Insta360 150cm selfie stick, and this is my go-to selfie stick because it's easy to use and I can lock it anywhere between 40 and 150 centimeters. But when I need those FPV and drone-like shots, then I was using the Talisin 270cm selfie stick. Now the reason I'm using this one and not the Insta360 3-meter extended selfie stick is because that one broke and I'm waiting for a replacement. So this is a temporary solution. I couldn't use this as my main selfie stick because this one is really annoying to open and close and you can't lock it at any length. It's got these certain places where it locks together. So that's why I use the Insta360 selfie stick as my go-to. For the X3 camera settings, I'm using standard 360 video mode. The video resolution is set to 5.7K, 30 frames per second. The sharpness is set to low and the color is set to standard. It's really important when you're shooting in low light to take control of your ISO and shutter speed. This is how you avoid noise and blur in your video. I was walking around in low light, so to avoid blurry video walking around at night time, I need to set my shutter speed 4 times my frame rate. So because I'm filming at 30 frames per second, 30 times 4 is 120, so my shutter speed needs to be a minimum of 1/120th of a second to avoid blur in my video. If you set your shutter speed to 1/120th, you might see light flickering, and if you do, then you can step down your shutter speed to 1/100th of a second and it should get rid of it. The next step is to set the ISO, and in the sequence I made, my ISO was set between 400 and 1600, and ideally you want to set the ISO as low as possible to get the cleanest video possible. The higher you set the ISO, the more noisy your video will become. Always try and film where there's lots of ambient light so you can keep the ISO low. If you're filming in a very dark place, then you'll need to crank up the ISO really high to make your video brighter, which will introduce a lot of noise. If you find this confusing, then don't worry, because I have a cheat sheet in the video description which will show you step by step using a flowchart how to set the shutter speed and ISO manually, so you will never record blurry and noisy video again. To edit the video, I used Premiere Pro and the GoPro Effects reframe plugin, and this gave me the flexibility to add really fluid movement in editing compared to using Insta360 Studio. And I didn't do any noise reduction or color grading in editing. I thought the footage looked really good straight out of the camera, and that's exactly what you're seeing. So that brings us to the end of this video, but if you have a question, then drop it in the comments below. If you learned something new, then hit the like button, subscribe for more 360 tutorials, and I will see you in the next video.